Big changes are coming to Congress when the new term starts in January. Democrats have retained the control of the Senate, but Republicans have won a very slim majority in the House. So much for that red wave. That sets up a divided Congress for the next 2 years of President Biden's presidency. Meanwhile, Democratic leadership in the House will see a major shakeup. The top three House Democrats, Speaker Nancy Pelosi, House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer, and Majority Whip Jim Clyburn are all stepping down from their roles, but they're not leaving. On Thursday, Speaker Pelosi explained her decision on the House floor. Take a listen.
When I came to the Congress in 1987, there were 12 Democratic women. Now there are over 90, and we want more. And with great confidence in our caucus, I will not seek re-election to Democratic leadership in the next Congress. For me, the hour's come for a new generation to lead the Democratic caucus that I so deeply respect. And I'm grateful that so many are ready and willing to shoulder this awesome responsibility.
What a public servant. Now, New York Congressman Hakeem Jeffries is seeking to be the new House Democratic leader. If he succeeds, he will be the first black person ever to lead a party in Congress. Massachusetts Congresswoman Katherine Clark is running for number 2 spot as the new Democratic whip. And Representative Pete Aguilar of California is looking to replace Jeffries as House Democratic Caucus chair. Joining me now is the current House Democratic whip, a friend of the show, Congressman James Clyburn of South Carolina. While he's stepping down as House whip, he has announced his intention to remain in a leadership role as the assistant Democratic leader. Congressman, thank you for joining me. I wanted to ask you, in a statement you said that you hope Representative Hakeem Jeffries, Katherine Clark, and Pete Aguilar will succeed the three of you. You called them, quote, our new generation of Democratic leaders. Congressman Jeffries has made a long history as the first black person to ever lead a congressional caucus. What do you hope they'll bring to the table? And what advice have you offered them in their roles?
Well, thank you very much for having me. But, I hope they will continue this forward movement that we've had for the last several years. Nancy Pelosi has been a remarkable leader. She has demonstrated time and time again how to rise above the fray and really look long term as to the future of this great country of ours. And I was hope that this trio of leaders will do the same. I really enjoyed working alongside Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer, but you're all in our 80s. We want a future for our children and grandchildren that we believe can be provided by this new generation of leadership, and I want to be a part of helping them succeed.
Congressman, for a very long time, when we were going into the elections and throughout Donald Trump's presidency, quite frankly, you were sounding the alarm that we were very much trying to protect and safeguard democracy, that that's what was on the ballot. And I think that the fact that so much of the election was so close in the Congress, I want to talk to you about that. It will be a divided Congress when the new term starts in the new year. Republicans are taking over the House, and it sounds like they have a vendetta. They're already talking about launching investigations and impeachment proceedings. What does this mean for the Biden agenda? But at the same time, isn't that what majority of voters voted against? That they were tired of this pendulum of election, of basically two parties fighting, and really wanted policy? What is it? What do you say to this?
That's exactly what the voters were saying in the last election. I was being stopped everywhere I went, in airports, in churches, on campuses, even when we were down at Selma last year. People were telling me we need to protect this democracy. It's amazing that when you look at the imperfection that we've had in this country, we have always had people who really feel that we should continue this track toward a more perfect union, recognizing that we are not perfect, but we are the best that there is on earth. And what we saw were people time and time again undercutting this democracy, doing and saying things that violated that pursuit. And when people are grabbing you by the arm, total strangers in airports saying, you'll protect this great country. We appreciate what you're doing. I didn't need posters to tell me. And so when all the pundits were saying that we were wrong for pursuing that and that Joe Biden was wrong for that speech he gave, I said to the president at the time, he did exactly what needed to be done. And I've been saying since, people responded to his agenda as well as his approach. And I do believe that if they continue this vendetta, the vendetta that they're undertaking, they are going to pay handsomely in the next election.
Congressman, I think that's absolutely right. We don't have too much time, but I do want to ask you, we are right now entering the lame duck session. Yesterday, there was, everybody, so many American families were so excited because we saw the passage of the Marriage Equality Act equivalency on the House side. Do you think that there's going to be an opportunity for the DREAM Act to actually be taken also as seriously during this lame duck session?
Well, there's an opportunity. Exactly how far we go with that, we have to rely upon the Senate to give us the signals that we need. I want to see DACA done. I also want to see the John R. Lewis Voting Rights and Advancement Act done, and it has not been done. Both these things would round out what I consider to be one of the most consequential legislative sessions in the last 60 years.
Well, I have to congratulate you because the people who are succeeding you have incredible coattails. But the most important part is that you have identified the Democratic base in this new leadership. Democratic Congressman Jim Clyburn, thank you so much for speaking truth. And I absolutely agree with you. The pollsters, what they didn't catch was that Americans were the ones that broke the fever of the Republican MAGA party. Thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.